All right, so I'm gonna try to get some video on the way out here. That's back to Colorado Springs, 58 minutes, 36 miles. And it's a drive. It's not super crazy. I've certainly done longer drives. But I told you about 20 minutes or so is what this drive would be into Woodland Park. So I'm not going to be able to get all of this, more than likely, because holding this camera, the mount that I had for my phone, no good anymore, because I got the Fold, which is a pretty heavy phone. So a lot of the mounts that I've tried just don't work. However, the drive itself is really pretty. And when I mentioned in the previous video about normally I'll walk up the driveway, well, this is your driveway. So the good news is the sun hits a good portion of it, so it does melt the snow. The snow's not up here year round, but it can stick sometimes. So this is one of the ponds off to the left here. Not sure about where the other ones are, just off the top of my head, because Maps doesn't even pick it up. It's a really pretty drive, even into the evening. But this is just about, I would say about 2 miles, maybe a little more, of driving back in here. And for where it's at, I mean, this is, the roads are maintained extremely well. It took a little bit to kind of figure out where I was going. The signs really do help. And all of this back in here is private property, or at least what I've been able to gather is all private property. Everybody's got their properties fenced. Where I missed my truck. It's getting a motor put in it. Just because I don't like beating up the little sedan. But I've certainly driven on crazier. And not that this is crazy, but all dirt road. There is still some building going on in here. So I guess at this point, I've gotten this far. I might as well get the whole video of the drive. You could zoom through it, speed through it, whatever. You're not going to miss a whole lot of talking because there's not really a whole lot to talk about. But when I told you 20 minutes to get from that house to Woodland, I don't think that it's entirely impossible. But with, you know, the winding dirt roads, depending on weather, you're probably every bit of 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on weather. It is a little bit north on 67 from Highway 24, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And you know, once you've driven through here once, you'll know how to get here each time. It's not super difficult. It was just that first trip through, trying to make sure I was going the right direction, the right place, because on maps it doesn't get you to the proper spot. On maps it only gets you to the beginning of this road that I am currently on. Essentially, maps had no idea where I was. That's not a problem, but if you were to, let's say for example, you and your wife were up here, or your wife and you, depending on who's watching this, and you decided to take a drive through here, you may not be able to find it. And for perspective, I am driving on this road in a front-wheel drive, and it's doing just fine on the snow and the hills. Still prefer my truck, but this has not been a super difficult task to get up here. And again, once you've driven it, it's easy enough to get to and from. So this video is essentially helping me time whether or not 20 minutes to Woodland Park from that house is even feasible. And yeah, I could have done a stopwatch or something like that, but this is the more scenic version of a stopwatch. So here in about a half a mile is where maps takes you to get up here to the property. And I'm actually driving through here probably a little bit faster than I should, or maybe even you would. I'm doing 20. Not terrible. I'm not speed racering it through here. I have to say, I'm really impressed with how well these roads are kept. So right here is where Maps stops you. And you can't really see, but this is where Maps stops you. And then you kind of got to figure out from there where to go. And then you got another 1.3 miles to get to Painted Rocks, which is the road you come in on off of Highway 67. Yeah, we're at, getting close to 12 minutes, and we're not even really out of the area yet. So, I would say that you're probably 20. I think you're about 30 minutes from Woodland Park with this drive. 20 minutes may not be impossible. I think it's going to be closer to 30. After looking at the map last night, mapping it all out, driving it, I think you're closer to 30 minutes to Woodland Park, depending on the day, depending on the weather, road conditions, etc. I think 30 minutes is very reasonable. I don't think it's all the way impossible to hit, somewhere in the 25-ish minute range. We have hospitals, etc. And then, once you get used to the drive, I'm assuming it gets easier. Again, I'm doing this kind of at dusk, and it hasn't been super difficult. Finding my way there was the task. That took me a little bit longer than I had hoped, but it wasn't terrible at the end of the day. And then getting out, was a breeze. So if I had to go back up to find that property, very, very easy to do now. And anyone, if you were to have a guest that came over, getting them to the property the first time would probably be the only question mark. After that, anybody that you want to come over should not have any trouble finding you. So the cattle guards in the area tell me that there is cattle in here. An ag exemption could be quite possible. I will still track down Covenant. Here's Painted Rocks Road, or CR 78 as it's labeled. And then from here to 67 is a half mile. And if you've made it this far in the video, you guys are real champs. Good possibility that your mailboxes are here where the car is on the right. And this is 67. And from here it's 7 miles to Highway 24. fastest route. The only route, really. So I hope this video was helpful, and the other video on the house as well. I know where you guys stand, and we'll talk very soon. I hope you have a lovely evening. All of this is a beautiful drive, and I can't imagine getting tired of a drive like this. I enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys will too. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening.